Good morning, good afternoon, good Friday. How you guys doing? It's Market Watch episode 4. We are on the upcoming rise of IMX. We're getting ready for our shopping list, man. Today we're going to be busting it down with the Trial of the Gods card, seeing what's worth it, getting our singles ready, our ones ready. We're going to the club, not the strip club, the God Club, baby, the GU Club. And, we'll look at the transactions, we'll go where the money goes, because where the money goes, we follow it. And let's take a look, dive right into our 24-hour transactions. See where the money's been spent, y'all. People probably spent some money getting ready for the new ranked weekend, because right now your packs that you're earning this weekend go towards the new set. Seems like a come up if you ask me. So yeah, let's go ahead and refresh the page, reload our transactions, and dive right in. Probably wondering where I'm at. I'm right here, baby. So yeah, let's get it. Page is loading. Ooh, this week it looks like it's been going a little crazy. Past week in volume, $189,000. Coming up on $250,000, 378 sales. Heyo, 2 hours ago, somebody added a blind martyr to their repertoire. I don't really blame them. I'm gonna pause that. And yeah, somebody added a blind martyr for about $9.88. Said, hey, I need that for the gas. $80 in gas, so about $89 for a blind martyr. You bite the bullet, right? Somebody looking like they want to up their magic deck for this weekend. Looks like they went ahead and bought a set for the ramp magic, went ahead and bought a Tiet, went ahead and bought 2 Wardens, went ahead and bought a Cersei, Portal Wrangler, and 2 Shadow Scryers. Guardians of the Gate, and I guess they're missing a Frey and a Crystal Rain. Man, they bought the whole deck. And each transaction probably cost some gas. Woo! And $195 for the Frey, $122 for the Guardian of the Gate, a 32-cent Shadow Scryer, and a $16 Shadow Scryer. God bless. $163 for the Cersei, $16 for the Warden, $196. So build a deck for about $2,000. Shipping and handling sold separately. Somebody bought a Avatar of War, good purchase. A gold rare. Someone trying to up their light deck. Frontline, Roar, gain 1 health for every 2 Olympians in your void. Alright. Couple Jasons off the board. Couple more Pyramid Wardens off the board. Shadow Aeneas. Shadow Draco, that was about a day ago. So yeah, man. Looks like a couple more Wardens, couple more Jasons off the board for $700 each. Steady rising in price every single day. Let's go ahead and actually take a look at that on the price chart for Jason. And let's see how he has, let's go ahead and clear the filters here. This is for $723. Just in the past month, you can see on the chart here how the price action has fluctuated. It looks like it's consolidating around that $700 mark. Peaked at about $900. Let's go ahead and take a look at the all-time. Just going parabolic as people say, hey, I want some of that. Man, look at this. On release, trading for about $100. Went down to a dip of about 40, 50. Just going nutty. 200, 300, and then boom. Right back at 300. So yeah, let's go ahead and transactions was a little light. People probably saving their money for IMX coming up. Go ahead and clear Av, got you. And then let's go ahead and take a look at our domains for Trial of the Gods. Let's go ahead and filter by set. Take out Genesis. Go ahead and click on Trial. And we started with Death last time, I believe. So let's go ahead and start with Death today. Go ahead and filter that out. Are these the only commons? Let's go ahead and, okay, yeah. So we got rare commons. All right, so let's go ahead and get our list out, get our shopping list out, and let's go ahead and bust it down. Trial of the Gods IMX shopping list. Starting with death. Jumping right into some comments. All right, so looking at the list, Nether's Advocate, definitely going to be a must cop. Definitely see it being ran in almost every single death deck. Probably going to run you about like maybe 10 cents, if that. Something that's not as meta, but something I personally enjoyed when I first started building my collection was Merchant of Souls. Ability, give a friendly creature without an afterlife summon a 3/2. When you run that zoo deck, you can generate a lot of value slapping this on. I know people have tried to run Undying Soul or Undying Wish, which makes it soulless, give it a 2/1. If you have this on the board, you make them a 3/2. I mean, if you run Undying Wish, then go ahead and try Merchant of Souls. Undead Chimera just got a buff. It doesn't say it, but Roar and also upon attack, it deals 2 damage to each god. If you watch the Mudman interview with Copper Pitch, they go over the buff, and he also adds this into his deck, and they reiterate how strong that card is. Yeah, so like Lion's saying, it's definitely going to be a card that increases in value. Soul Shatter, destroy a target creature with 3 costs or less, deal 2 damage to each friendly character. I'm pretty sure it doesn't say this anymore. One second. Because I didn't think Soul Shatter does damage to each god. Yeah, destroy a target creature. Yeah, and yeah, exactly. Destroy target creature with mana cost 3 or less. You know, I was running it beforehand for a little bit of clear. Also, this is called Soul Charlatan. I believe it was called something else on here. Yeah, Merchant of Souls. So it doesn't seem like this is fully updated with the most recent iteration of the deck or of the card list. It says Princess of Takat. Whenever another Nubian dies, deal 1 damage to your opponent's god. I tried to mess around in Theorycraft in a Nubian deck without the access to Genesis cards and a full set of Nubians. It just it's not worth the buy, but maybe upon seeing some new Nubians in the new set, it might be worth adding on. I don't know why they have this all the way down here to sort by rate. I wish I could minimize all the rest of these and then just take a look at this. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rares. Interesting that this isn't a rare either. Okay, it has the wrong image for Deathwatch Overseer. That's funny. It has a Aether Herald. Interesting. All right, so let's go ahead and bust it down for the rares. Guardian of the Underworld, man. It's I hope it gets popular. I pulled the diamond Soul Shatter. Hey, you saw I had a gold and a soul and a shadow one, so I'm right there with you. One that's off the top, Skull Scepter, definitely a cop. After a friendly creature dies, deal 1 damage to the opponent's god. When you're running that zoo deck, this does a really noticeable amount of damage, man. Even if you're not connecting to the face, just filling the board with the connection of the burn. And the deal 2 to each god, as well as Blight Bomb or Brimstone and Bombfly, you can really get that damage in there and really get your opponent down low. And almost nobody runs sustain. So especially at a lower level, you definitely be well with adding a Skull Scepter to your Death deck. Deathwatch Overseer, it's got the wrong image on there, but definitely got a buff. It summons 2 1/1 Implings, not just 1 Impling, when you're under 15 health. 3/4 for 3 mana. Summons 2 1/1 stats, so 3, 5, 6, low key. So it's a pretty good card. Go ahead and add that to your shopping list. Should be, I mean, the rares, if we're looking at Genesis cards, they should be pretty cheap, man. These are like, you know, $1 or 2 a piece. Deathwatch Curate is definitely another card to add in there. 5 mana, 5, 6, heal you for 3 when you're under 15. So, I mean, you see a lot of cohesiveness with getting under 15. When it's dangerous when you're under 15 and you don't have sustain. So this gives you a body on the field and is healing you for 3. There's been times where it's definitely pushed me into being able to draw in my sustain and keep me alive and have them respect the board a little bit more. Nefaru's Will is cool. This isn't the same stat line either. I believe it gives 2+2 for each creature destroyed. And also the overkill. It's a cool little gimmick. Don't really see too many people running it, but maybe you can do a little better than I did. And if so, you have an idea, go ahead and copy it. Let's go ahead and jump up to the epics. All right, so epics have kind of made a little way into the game or into the forefront due to the sanctums being so spell dominated. So if you take a look, Trial of the Underworld is a good card. Pull a random 5-mana creature from either side of the void. Repeat this for 6, 7, 8. It does no longer do 9. If it did 9, that would actually be even more clutch. Maybe I'd be more inclined to actually fit into a deck. I don't think it's a must buy because not a lot of people are actually putting it into their deck. Most of the time you're running early. Neff is about the highest card you get up to. Atraxia is cool. I wanted to do a similar thing with Trial of the Underworld and Hippocrates Monster. You get to the late game pretty fast, kind of nerf yourself down. But again, I just wasn't really seeing it. Necronomics is cool. Is it a must buy? I don't think so. Not quite. But once people kind of get it more figured out into how they want to run it, because a lot of the time you don't really need to pull that refresh of the 5 mana. And unless we get to a point with this new set where we're really trying to push down to the 5. I know Mudman's deck is a little bit more put together, so he might run it in his version. He might find a space for it, but I think one thing that is a must buy is definitely Return to the Cave. It just got nerfed right before the set goes live. Add 2 mana locks, heal for 10, no longer 12. But this is definitely something that, as I've been telling you, you want to get to 15 and you need some sustain. You're definitely playing on the brink of death, as you should be with the Death Domain. But yeah, Return to the Cave is definitely something you want to find at least one. You don't have to get a play set, maybe. I mean, you might want to just cop it just to have to, just in case. But you should at least buy one. Most people don't run two back to the caves. They only run one, so I would only, recommend at a minimum getting one. And then we have the leggies. So I could be a little bit biased and tell you, hey, go get a Hippocrates. I got a gold one, but Hippocrates is not really a must buy. I haven't really seen people run it because a lot of people aren't really getting to 9 like that when you're playing Death. Unless you're playing board wipe, but that's a whole nother story. Dionyse, good for the draw, but the weakest card when you're running the Death deck, it seems, and in the words of Mudman himself, that's what he said, he would slot out another Return to the Cave and replace and take out the Dionyse. And that was before it just got a nerf, taking out 2 attack and just 3 health. It is a great card, man. I do love draw. Draw is something that you don't really get a lot of, and having a body that is 3 mana, 2/3 now, draw 3 cards. It's not a bad card. Maybe it's slept on. But I guess when everything else is so high tier with Thanatar and dealing a lot more damage and a lot more utility, as far as getting your opponent down as well, there's just not a space for it. And with that being said, Neferu. Neferu is I don't want to say a must-buy, but Neferu is strong. Definitely a top-tier legendary within the set. If you were going to buy a card, probably 3 cards out of these that I recommended, I'd probably say add the Skull Scepter, add the Undead Chimera, and add a Return to the Cave would probably do the best. If you want to drop the money, add a Neferu. Because Neferu keeps going back to your hand limitlessly. Even if you did a Ratify, you still get Neff to the grave, and I believe you still might get Neff to the hand. It's really janky how that works. Nefaru's Kopesh. Not really recommended until we see more out of control Death. I have a deck where I was running it, but is it optimal in comparison to the Death Soulburn? No. But is it good? Yes, because you can keep running back. If you have the lowest card in your deck, you can just have a 1/1 being the Nether's Advocate, or if you have it being 2 at the lowest, you can put in a Acolyte. And you can continually bring back an Acolyte back to the board, continually getting on the afterlife of that 6/6 coming back. So it's pretty nutty when you get that going cohesively. There's also the 5 mana 1/4 core card, the Scorpion, where you can pop off somebody's afterlife. That will keep coming back because it has poison, and it is a 1 mana, or it is a 1/4. So that is a pretty card to keep getting back, and that'll top us off with the death. Let's go ahead and jump into light and check out some commons and the trials that we want to cop for light. Veteran Hoplite has a new upgrade. So, off looking at these, Healing Light has gotten some play some places. 4 mana, fully heal each friendly creature, give them +1 health, gain 4 favor. Not a must buy, but Parthian's Democracy. If you look at the core cards that we have, hope I'm doing Deception next. I can definitely do that for you. No problem. We can do that next. Let's go ahead and set up our light section. Go ahead and take up commons. And Parthian's Democracy, it's a better version of one of the light cards that's in the core set. It gives you to all the creatures, +1 health to all the creatures in your hand or in your field and in your deck. Or in your hand and in your deck. This one does in your field and in your deck, I believe. It's not updated. Let me see if the card bot has that for us. Parthian's Democ. Yeah, get +1 to each creature in your board and on your deck. The other one is in your hand. So if you have a beefy board like you want to do with light and fill up your zoos, this is a good card. I think you can add into that zoo Asterius deck if that's what you're running. And then also, Phantasmic, appreciate the follow, buddy. One thing that you want to add for cheap, this is a common card, Olympian Guard. Olympian Guard is a really good card, man. 2 mana, so we're getting groovy right now. The stuff popping off. Let's go ahead and let that breathe for a little bit. Okay, Olympian Guard, front line at the end of your turn. This creature gets, if this creature has 2 strength or less, give it +1/+1. This will go off for 2 turns. After you play it, it'll become a 2/3 with front line. If they don't do anything, you play your turn. Then it becomes a 3/4. If they hit it once, it becomes a 3/2. And then from there you go on. But it's definitely a very strong card for a cheap card that is just a common. Something you can, and probably something there's going to be a lot of. If you want to go ahead and boost it to, you know, a shadow, you can probably definitely buy a lot of copies for cheap. Let's go ahead and bust it down to the rares. All right, rare cards. I mean, I'm not sure how long you've been playing. If you just started playing when we have the Spell Sanctum, you might not be familiar with Dragon of the First Pillar, but if you were, this also has a higher stat line. I believe it's 5/5 at the start of each turn. Give +1 strength to each friendly creature. Roar when this hits the board. You can either give this creature backline +2 strength and making it a 7/5 with backline, or frontline with +4 health, making it a 5/9 with frontline that gives +1 strength to each creature on the board. That is definitely going to be, maybe not a must buy. Add it to your list. Whether or not it doesn't really get slotted into a lot of decks right now due to them being so heavily with the Genesis cards and the light domain being so strong. First Pillar, I believe, is a different card. Is that just straight up? I believe that's a different card, right? First Pillar. Yeah, so I believe it might be talking about Trial of the First Pillar, which is also a good card. I don't know if you're playing right now. You've probably seen it in the Sanctum. All creatures have their strength and health set to 2. Summon a 2/5 pillar with frontline that can't attack. If you're playing against what has been so rampant coming up in the meta with Nature and Big Beast, if you do have this in the light deck and you're kind of running something a little different, you might be able to slot this in with a Glittering one. All creatures have their health set to 2. If you have things over that, you could drop this and then play a Glittering one right after that. So that might be something that people might want to temper around with. Maybe add that into your weekend rank, depending on what rank you are, because you might be seeing some big beasts. I've been seeing 3 out of 3 natures so far for me. Whether or not that's a must-buy... Okay, yeah, so this is the card of First Pillar. First Pillar is a 4 mana 2/5, frontline can attack, but it comes off of Trial of the First Pillar. Not really a must-buy. but it's a good card nonetheless, something you can dabble around with if you want. Dousing Blade. Not a lot of people are running Chosen One, but with Osiris and some other cohesiveness, also with the changes coming up to Chosen One, this might be something to keep your eye on. At the end of your turn, move the Chosen One 2 cards closer to the top. Afterlife, give +1/+1 to the Chosen One. So, you know, you might be able to get a little mishmash going on with that. Let's go ahead and jump up to the epics. I don't know how many of you have played around with Etheric Alarm. It's good, but whether or not you want to add it into your own deck, not worth it when Golden Harp is such a better 3 mana relic for the set. Same with Cudgel, 1 mana 2/2, restore to health or 4 health, something like that. Fated Arrival is cool. You see it in the Sanctum right now. People aren't really slotting it in because people aren't really playing Chosen One. Parthian Shield Maid. After this creature is healed, give +1 health or give ward to the Chosen One. Again, not many people are playing Chosen One. We'll take a look back at that once the Chosen One rework is live. Field Medic, add two Afterlife. Add 2 injured soldiers to your void. Haven't really seen too much cohesiveness with that card yet, but you know, my eyes are open. And to the meat and potatoes, the leggies are better in this set than they were in the previous one, but that could be debatable because there also are some very strong legendaries in Genesis that will definitely give these a run for the money. So like I was saying, there aren't really any epics that I say you should add to the list, but legendaries. Isadora, for people who are running the glittering one. This will continually add the Olympian Guard. As you saw earlier, the comment that you should add to the list. This will give you an Olympian Guard for free. This is no longer 2/2 is it with Protected. This is a 6 mana with backline, 1/2 with Ward that at the end of your turn will summon an Olympian Guard. Very strong, pretty sticky for the most part with that Ward. I don't know what was better, Ward or Protected, but definitely gets its value off top and I think what you want to see when you play big cards is that they swing when you play them. Bradley or Bardelli, I call him Brad. But Ward, Roar, this creature gains +1 strength for each enemy creature, +1 health for each friendly creature. You know, how many times are you going up against a massive zoo on zoo where you're really playing Brad? Brad's cool. I have Brad. I have a couple copies, but whether or not he's a must-buy, I'm not going to say so. Lysander's Spear, though, with very light, heavy decks and you keeping it to the domain, this is a very good card. After you play a light card, add 1 durability to this relic. Give +2/+2 to a creature. Infinite relic that will give a +2/+2 buff. With people running things like Canonize and things like that, this could give you an insane creature. With Pyramid Warden, you play your Lysander Spear, then you play a Pyramid Warden if you have that. Or you could be free to play. You play your Skeleton Heavy. This makes your Skeleton Heavy on that next turn a 4/6. That's pretty meaty, pretty sticky. I definitely think you should add that to your deck depending on your play type. If you're playing Chosen One, this is definitely something you could slot in with Chosen One. Lysander's Champion of Light if this is for all you heal guys. Frontline, Ward, at the start of your turn, completely heal this creature. After this friendly creature is healed, they gain 1 strength. Also, I don't think this has Ward as well. Let me go ahead and double check on that. Lysander. It does have Frontline and Ward. So Lysander is a pretty strong card. 6 mana 3/7 that continually heals itself at the end of each turn fully and also gains strength. So if you also have a Lysander Spear on, this can get pretty insane. Unless they have something like a Ratify or something that's really going to tone it down. You can see the cohesiveness that it can add into your deck. So let's go ahead and add in Lysander, the champion. And then let's go ahead and we were requested to do Deception next. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Go ahead and pull up our commons. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have seen some Deception cards because it seems to have some good value for the lower cards. With Sleep being such a good thing, let me go ahead and back that. Satyr's Hypnotist, whether it is a must-buy, I don't think it is a must-buy, but should we add it to the list? We'll add these to the list, but they're definitely not must-buys, but they're definitely recommend-worthy. With Sleep being so interesting, and not really a lot of people have the cards to play it, let's go ahead and add in our comment section. Let's go ahead and add in the Satyr Hypnotist. At the end of your turn, a random enemy creature goes to sleep. There's a lot of times where people complain about going second in tempo. If you have, of course, man, if you have this in your hand going second, you sleep that creature that they put down first. So it's definitely it's not very sticky because it's only a 2/2, but it's definitely something that can throw a wrench in their tempo plans. So we can go ahead and add that to the list. And with that being said, talking about sleep, I run a sleep deck with just my trial cards and some of the cores, so it can be done, but granted, it's not the best because I'm missing those Genesis sleep cards, as we went over in the previous Market Watch episode. But Black Diamond Dagger is no longer called that. It is Obsidian Dagger. Ability, target creature goes to sleep. Remove 1 durability from this relic. There are going to be a couple other cards that go with this. You can see target creature goes to sleep with mounting tensions. I believe that's not what it's called anymore either. Let me go ahead and update you on the names on that. Sleep. Will it add? Okay, so yeah. It's called Obsidian Dagger. Target creature goes to sleep. Give -1 to the relic. That other card is called Fever Dreams. Target creature goes to sleep. Draw a card for each sleeping creature. So a play that I do is on 2, I will use my bag. Go ahead and equip the Obsidian Dagger. They'll have maybe 2 minions on the board. We'll go ahead and sleep with the dagger. Go ahead and sleep the other creature with the Fever Dreams. And then you're drawing 2. Both creatures go to sleep. With the core card cohesiveness, as we were talking about, Dark Dream Hex will also ping off the dagger. Target creature goes to sleep. If it's sleeping, go ahead and destroy it. So when they have a big creature like a Jotun or a Healing Elite, you can go ahead and sleep it with the dagger. Go ahead and kill it with the Dream Hex. So that is some plays that you can make with these core cards. Let's go ahead and add in Obsidian Dagger, not Black Diamond Dagger. And then Fever Dreams, you can go ahead and add that on there, and not Mounting Tensions. Also, another thing for those of you who are playing cheat, Hidden Rush, Figure in the Crowd. I believe that's the correct name. Backline Flank Hidden 6/3. For those of you who don't have Shadewalker in the Genesis set, this is a decent substitute. It does not gain health each turn, so past 2 turns it will be outvalued by the Shadewalker, but this is a nice substitute in lieu of, and it's also a common, so it's going to be a little bit cheaper. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I thought it was a little different. Let's go ahead and take a look at that figure. Hooded Figure. Yeah, I thought it was something a little different. Hooded Figure, 5 mana. Pretty easy to get, as you've seen. I've ripped off maybe about 100 packs or so of rares, and I have about 17 copies of these. They pass them out like butter. Actually, I've ripped some legendaries too, so that's probably also why I have them. But yeah, so Hooded Figure. Go ahead and add that to the list. I probably won't add it to mine, but just definitely something for those of you who like that Hidden Rush. Definitely something you could add to your arsenal. Really some meat, some high damage that'll get you there faster on 5. Something that's hidden. Something with backline and flank. It'll definitely get you that kill shot when you need it sometimes. So definitely something cheap that you could add into your arsenal. Rares coming out. Something fun. Something must have. Something I should have in bold. I might just actually write that in bold if I... Nah, we're not going to be extra, but something I will say loudly. Hey, appreciate you, Migs. I try. I do this for y'all. Rare card. Shadow of Lethanon. This card is a monster for those people that are running decks, or when you queue into a matchup of something that doesn't have untargeted clear. This will stay on the board. If you have Dark Knives, this will just slap them down continuously. If you do not even connect to the face, this will deal 1 damage at the start of your turn. Take a look at Shadow of Lethanon. 1 mana, 1/1. At the end of your turn, this creature gains hidden. So that means you can attack on your turn. It will become hidden again. At the start of your turn, this creature deals 1 damage to the opposing god. So off top, even if you do not buff it, this is a 2 attack per turn. Very sticky. It continually becomes hidden. And as we were talking about, let me go ahead and enlarge in this because this is kind of bothering me that it's... Yeah, to some, they might say broken. And it's going to get locked in like this, y'all. So they definitely aren't touching it. And with that being said, we should definitely talk about the Trial of the Shadows. It is a fun card. Fill your side of the board with Shadow of Lethanons. When you pass your turn after that on 7 and they do not clear the board, they will take a sweep of 7 damage pinged off by all these cats. So it's definitely an interesting card. Whether or not it's good, debatable, but it's definitely meme worthy. As we were talking about with the sleep cohesiveness, Dreamstalker, with you having a dagger in hand on 3, you pass on 4, do whatever you want. Turn 5, Roar, destroy all sleeping creatures. With this being a 5 mana card, you can't really do a lot with already sleeping some cards. Charm doesn't put it to sleep until the start of their turn, so you can't Charm and Dreamstalker. There are the 3 mana cards that you can put to sleep and pop this off with the Stalker once you get to 8, which can give you some clear when other people have big 8 mana cards. It is also an effect, so cards with Ward, you can also get through that. Dreamstalker is definitely something you should add to the list to those of you who are interested in playing Control Deception and want some sleep. And with that being said, Orpheo's Guile, bread and butter. I don't know who all was playing with the previous Sanctum, but Orpheo's Guile is definitely some meat and potatoes. It is no longer a 8 mana card. It is 7 mana, I believe. So when you get to those control board areas of Rhapsody Dance, you can follow that up with another set of Orpheo's Guile, make you respect the board even more. And with Zoo becoming so rampant with the nerf of Blast Wave, this is something you should probably add to your arsenal for those of you who are playing Deception, because as you have probably seen, there's not a lot of ways to deal with a wide board besides Rapture Dance. So go ahead and add this in. This is something you can add in as well. Deal damage to each creature equal to its strength. And you can also get cards. This generates cards for you. For each creature destroyed, add a random card from the opposing god's domain to your hand. Something pretty good to add. Let's go ahead and add that on there. And also, it was being bugged. It was only adding cards in from your domain, not the other god's domain. But they fixed that as of like a couple patches ago, maybe 2 hotfixes ago. The epics are kind of weak. Pan Marauder is a cool card. Everybody talks about it, but nobody's figured it out yet. When this creature attacks, Roar reduced by and when it comes on the board, reduced by 1 the cost of each non-deception, non-neutral card in your hand. So I guess if you Orpheo's Guile and then follow that up with a Pan Marauder, you can lower it. Elixir of the Panther. This is a good for you. This is a good card you should keep in mind for those who wants to play Control. Add a copy of each enemy creature in your hand, or each enemy creature goes to sleep. Definitely something that you can use to stall out till you get to the Orpheo's Guile and the Rapture Dance as they're building that wide board. Whether or not it's a must-buy, depending on your play style, but should it be added or kept in mind? Yeah, go ahead and add that on there. Elixir of the Snake, each creature gets +3, -3. Not really the best, but good on controlling the board. Could hurt your board, which is the bad part. Definitely a double-edged sword. But let's take a look at the epics. There's only going to be, or the legendaries. There's one that really comes to mind, and that's going to be Eris. Eris really got a buff. It is no longer a 7/7. It is an 8/7 with hidden, deadly, and twin strike now. And then when this creature attacks not just a god but also a creature, obliterate the top 10 cards of your opponent's deck. So when you can get to late game and you steal them out with the Control Deception build, which they definitely gave some cards to add into that archetype. We'll probably see some more coming up with the new set. This is definitely a must-buy for those of you who like playing long games and need a legendary to add in for Deception. I think this is the must-buy legendary for Deception. Orpheo's Mask is cool. After you play a card, add 1 durability. A Deception card, add 1 durability to this relic. Ability: pull a target enemy creature into your opponent's hand, then remove 2 durability. The issue with this card that people have been having is that they don't have enough Deception cards to keep this card going. So my problem with Orpheo, Champion of Deception, backline, deadly, hidden for 1 turn. After you play a card, play this creature to the board if it's in your hand. Orpheo is cool. It's got deadly, but the fact that it plays out of your hand automatically is an issue for me. Spymaster Salinas, also an interesting card, but got buffed. It's now a 5 mana 4/3. Give all of the friendly creatures when this hits the board. Whenever this creature damages your opponent, copy a random card in your opponent's deck, add it to your hand. Not really a must buy. Only must buy would probably be Eris. The others are kind of decent. If you really like Deception, go ahead and add them to your arsenal. But yeah, Eris is by far so much stronger than the other domains. So now we have done Death, we have done Light, we have done Deception. What do y'all want next? We can either do, I was thinking about Nature. There's also a lot of strong cards in War. Any preference? I guess there's been a lot of Nature players, especially given the how free to play friendly it is. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for y'all. All right, we got Nature. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into that. Let's jump into the commons. Go ahead and filter that out. Pull up our list. So I've been dabbling around with no longer called Call for Aid. It is now Sudden Rally. Summon 3/3 Confused 1/1 Recruits. People like the Amazons, man, but it's just not strong enough yet. Somebody else posted, I read somewhere that it's missing strength in the 1, 2, and 3 mana card area, and I can agree with that. But Call for Aid with I'm blanking on what the card is. It gives Amazons Twin Strike and +3/+2. Archmonian Onslaught. Give each friendly Amazon +3/+2 and Twin Strike. So I was doing a little thing. Let me go ahead and keep that back up. I was doing a little test. I made a deck with it, running Sudden Rally and Archmonian Onslaught. Once you hit 3, you get 3 4/3s with Twin Strike onto the board. It's pretty strong, pretty good. The Goat, Quarrelsome Goat, no longer called that. Ornery Goat. It's definitely goated in this set. People love talking about it. Now got a buff, 3 mana 3/3, a little sticky. It can be overshadowed not having a slot to fit in with Zoo decks or running some cohesiveness. But Ornery Goat, confused at the start of your turn, deal 2 damage at a random enemy. Definitely some good board control. For cheap, I can definitely suggest adding it into your arsenal. Not a bad card to talk about. Go ahead and commons. And Ornery Goat, no longer called Quarrelsome Goat. Dionysian Bull, definitely a good 6 mana drop. I don't have Black Rhino. And so in lieu of, to slot in, Black Rhino is a 6 mana 5/8 with Frontline. This is a 6 mana 3/7 with Frontline Region 4. Not a lot of 6 mana monsters to slot in that have as good a value, but this is a substitute if you want a big body. The other substitute that I was talking about in the previous episode was Green Giant. Those are about it in lieu of Black Rhino. So until then, go ahead and grab you a Dionysian Bull. Let's go ahead and add that onto our list. Enchanted Vines, for those of you who like playing mid-range controlled nature. When you get to 6, this is another thing that people don't really expect a lot of people to run. This got buffed, no longer deal 3 damage, deal 4 damage to 4 random creatures, and add a random nature card to your hand. This definitely has a lot of value, a lot of control when you're playing against zoo decks, which are about 33% of what you see on the ladder. Depending on where you are in the ladder, you definitely see a lot more of that. And this also hits 4 creatures on board. The only other wipe that you really see is Wildfire, which does 2 across the board at 4 in the Hunt. Once people think they're out of the Hunt range and you pull out something that does 4 mana to 4 creatures on the board and generates a card for you, that can definitely swing the game heavy, and something that swings the game heavy on 5, Jagstaff. No longer a 2/4, this is a 2/2 for 5 mana. Blitz, after you attack, you summon a black Jag. That's a 2 mana 3/3. Definitely a must buy. For those of you who have yet to pick out a Fey Flame Blade, it is definitely something that you can add in for those of you who like weaponry. And also it instantly adds in value. You get the 2 damage that you can ping, as well as a 3/3 body that they have to respect. And you can do that again once more on the following turn. Jags are nasty, as you said. Autumn Seer, definitely a cool card. I don't mind when it get generated it out of, Forage or other cards that generate nature cards. Afterlife, add a random nature card to your hand. 2 mana, 1/2. It's cute, but with board state and board control being so prevalent and so important, even more so than in the mid game and late game than having it in the early game. Having a 2 mana 1/2 just doesn't cut it, especially when you might not get generated a card that's good. So it's a cute card, but is it worth it? No. Coupled noteworthy. These they definitely had a good amount of rares here. Figure in the Streets. Pretty good card. Frontline, Regen 2, Afterlife. Add 2 random nature cards to your hand. 8 mana, 6/10 body. It gets easily slapped down, though, by a Helion Elite and by a Jotun. So, is it a must-buy? No. Is it a good card? Noteworthy? Yes. For those of you who like playing Zudex, Wandering Scout, definitely something you should add in there. It is a better version of Tribal Orc. If you control 2 or more creatures, this creature gets +3/+2, making it a 3 mana 3/5. Definitely a very strong card if you have the board state at that spot. And it's pretty easy to do if you're playing Zoo. You have Animal Bond into Best Friends, which will definitely get you there on curve. So let's go ahead and add in Wandering Scout. Another one, as you probably see right behind my list, something that is very good with this Hydra head, Archmonian Hydra. People know how to play around it, so it's not always the stickiest, but Confused Roar summon a 3/2 Hydra head, like you see right here with Regen 1. After the Hydra head dies, it summons 2 of them. So you can get pretty nutty. It's definitely a very fun card to play with. Whether or not you get that card off a lot, yet to be seen. Most people know to target the Hydra first and then go for the heads. There's a lot of Captain Americas out there who are very anti-Hydra, so... Trial of the Hydra. This is very good for those of you who play wild Zoo decks with Bladefly. Each friendly creature gains Regen +1. Then each friendly creature gains +X, where X is the Regen amount. It goes cohesiveness with the Jackstaff. Whether or not it's a must-buy, not really. Ritual of Madness. It's now Frenzied Ritual. Deal 12 damage to a random enemy creature and to a random friendly creature. Add a random nature card to your hand. Definitely a good 12 ping. It's a better lightning strike, especially when you don't have anything on your side of the board and they have a big body, but it's not a must-buy. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the epics. There are a couple of noteworthy legendaries for sure. Let's go ahead and see what's on the epic. Not really anything that's coming to mind when I first think about it. Yeah, nothing noteworthy really. Archmonian or Amazon Hunt Caller. If you guys like Amazons and want to build that archetype, go ahead and add that. Give each friendly creature after this creature attacks deal 2 damage to a random enemy creature. If you have a wide board state, this is very good. Definitely can clean up the enemy's board very fast. Nothing I really want to tell you to go out of your way to buy. These are where the money is. Chiron. Running joke is that this is Shield Bearer's older brother because it does about the same thing. Is it worth legendary money? No, this is not worth $20. You know what I mean? Don't. If you can get it for 10, if you can get it for 8, go ahead and go for it. If you get a combo with the Chiron and the broccoli, that is a nice little opening hand. Same with a broccoli, and when I say broccoli, I mean a marsh walker. That and the shield bearer, it's pretty much the same thing. But what Chiron does: Regen 1, Roar, give a random friendly creature +1/+1, give burn to a random enemy creature. It no longer does that, but it does remove 1 from your opponent's relic. Pretty snazzy weapon removal, unsuspected when you play that. Dionysus is no longer the Reveler. I'm not sure what his last part is. Dionysus is a great card. It just got tapped a little bit, but still fire. What this card does, Roar, add 7 random nature cards to your hand and set their cost to 1. Pretty nutty. It no longer deals 6 damage to each enemy character, which was insane. What it does now is a measly 4 damage across the board and to the god's face, each enemy character, as well as generating 7 1-mana nature cards. What that can do is that can give you a 1-mana Jotun, a 1-mana Black Rhino, a 1-mana Amazon Hunt Caller. This card can pop off. And when you get to 9, this is about as good as it gets, about as big of a statement piece as you can get. One heavy piece that I definitely recommend you go out and buy, Selena's Bow. This card can be put into anywhere. It is a infinite relic. After you play a nature card, add 1 durability to the relic, deal 2 damage to a random enemy, remove 2 durability. This paired with Leech Life gives you so much board control. It is insane. And then upon you running Leech Life, Selena's Bow, and Selena, Champion of Nature. For a lot of these tournaments coming up, Caution was running a deck that had Dionysus, Selena's Bow, Selena, and Leech Life. You could also tap that in with Forge because you have so much control with the board with Selena and with the Bow. You're doing a ping of 4. But with the Leech Life, you're doing a ping of 6. I mean, there's not really much that will live through that. So go ahead and add in Selena. Selena herself, is she a must-buy? Let me go ahead and read Selena because I didn't do it justice. Selena is a 4-mana 3/4 now. Backline, ward, roar. Each friendly creature is no longer confused. Ability, deal 2 damage to an enemy, and then a random enemy creature becomes confused. I mean, golly, that's a mouthful. And if that says something, I think that might be a must-buy. It is a must-buy for those of you who love the nature domain. I will say that much. If you love nature and you plan on sticking with nature and you just want to, that's what you're going to push with, Selena's Bow, Dionysus, and Selena. I'd say just buy those legendaries, man. And just those added into your deck. I mean, everything else you can keep. You can play the rest of the free-to-play big beasts, and you're going to be pretty good. And that'll top off nature. Let's go ahead and we have magic and light left. There's a lot of good stuff in war, or we have magic and war left. So let's go ahead and do magic because war has a lot of good stuff in it. And I'm going to end it on that. So let's go ahead and jump into the magic commons. Nothing too crazy. There are some recommendations I'm going to make for y'all. So let's go ahead and make our list. Magic. Go ahead and bust down with the commons. Spellbound Gabi. Woo! This used to remove 8 durability from your opponent's relic, and if it destroyed a relic, your opponent drew a card. Yeah, exactly. That's why I had to read off. Vet said, people underestimate the value of removing confused from all your creatures, just imagining a rhino that's not confused. That's why I had to read it off and really say it is a must-buy, because the fact that it removes confused from all your creatures as well as will make one of their creatures confused after you ping them, as well as having backline and ward, it's a must-buy. I think it's deserved the title of must-buy. Also, Spellbound Gob has made some changes. Let me show you the current version of Spellbound Goblin. I run Goblin into all my magic decks. You need to at least have some form of relic removal. This is Spell Boost +1. Remove 5 durability from your opponent's relic. This is a must tech into your deck, at least one, every single iteration of a magic deck. Because I feel the same with Nefarious Briar, you should at least run some type of removal. Because giving your opponent infinite removal with you having no out except for the Sanctum and you praying to the domain gods. Exactly. Definitely buy any gold gobs you can find. I might sell you one for a price, a pretty penny. I showed you the card. I did not read off the card. Let me go ahead and pull that back up. I read off the card. It's a 4-mana 4-mana 3/3. Remove 3. So they buffed the attack, took off a little bit of the removal. I'm definitely going to say go ahead and add in a Spellbound Gob. For those of you who like to have fun, like to meme it up, Rod of Rodents. Definitely something you should add in. After you cast a spell that costs 3 or less, summon a 1/1 rat. It's fun. And it has more cohesiveness, so I will say add in the Rod of Rodents. You can get it for 8 cents. It's nothing great, but I will tell you some other cards that you can add in with some other cohesiveness. Aether Drover, no longer what that card is called. I believe this is Aether Herald. If you're holding an Ether, deal 3 damage to your opponent's god. Aether or Planetar Sage, if you're holding an Ether, gain 9 favor. Academy Familiar, another Aether. Whenever you cast a spell that costs 3 or less, give this creature +1 strength until the start of your next turn. Aether Magic. Not a lot of Aethers anywhere else to be found in the Core and Welcome set. So if you want to run some Aethers, go ahead and get these here. Form of Wisdom. Draw a card. If it's a spell that costs 3 or less, reduce its cost to 0. This is going to be a must-buy, I must say. Form of Wisdom is definitely a must-buy. Form of Unity, as we'll see later on, I believe that is an epic. Not necessarily a must-buy, but if we're talking about with the Rod of Rodents, you should pair these up together. Rod of Rodents, Form of Wisdom, and Form of Unity. We'll dabble into that in a second once we get there. But let's go ahead and add in Form of Wisdom if you like the magic domain and the spell domain. Let's go ahead and jump into the rares. Go ahead and enter a little bit because I don't like seeing just the bottom of that page. Let's go ahead and bump into the rares. Go ahead and filter that now. Rares, Palace Incantation, Melt. I low-key like, I don't know what title I like better for the card, Melt or Arcane Burst. If we're going through with the Rod of Rodents deck, this is something you must tech into your deck. Arcane Burst is what is now called. Deal 1 damage to a character for each spell that costs 3 or less in your void. That is why you're going to get the Form of Power and also the Form of Wisdom. It gives you some more 3 cost or less spells, which will get you up to a maximum of 10 damage, and it will get you 10 spells to be able to rip off a Firebolt, or what was that card called? Pyroblast in Hearthstone. Deal 10 damage to the face. This will get you there. This will get you there, especially with all the other control spells. Star Shard Bolt, Tracking Bolt, Illuminate, Form of Power, deal 2 damage to an enemy creature, 1 damage to your opponent's god. Whether or not Arcane Burst is a must-buy, it is not. Form of Power is a must-buy. 1 mana, deal 2. I think that is, it is a better Illuminate. I think it's something, it is another version of Illuminate, another spell that does damage, something you should probably add in. I mean, damage spells are, about as good as it gets. For those of you who want to play Aether Magic, let's go ahead and look at these. These are not must-buys unless you want to play that archetype. Mana Auditor. Roar, if you're holding an Aether, remove 2 mana locks. This got a buff. It is no longer a 6 mana 2/4. I will show you that card as well. Virtuous Visions. This is no longer called that card as well. Roar, if you are holding an Aether, add a random 1 mana magic spell to your hand. This card, if it wasn't locked into a 1 mana magic spell and it was any magic spell, as Nature has, where they would give you any nature domain spell or any nature card, I think this should be opened up to more than that, because just getting a 1 mana spell doesn't really make it worth taking this into your deck. Unless you just want Aethers, then we could talk about an argument. But these cards do have a different name and a different stat line. Mana Auditor is a 6 mana 4/4, which you saw on the screen was a 6 mana 2/4. And Arch Visionist is what it's now called. It is a 5 mana 4/5. And what was it previously showing us? So still a 5 mana 4/5. Different title, and this is a 6 mana 4/4. Mana Auditor is definitely the better one of the 2 Aethers in that. Something also noteworthy that you can get a little cheesy with. Trial of the False Reflection. Summon a copy of a target creature the copy has at the start of your turn. Summon another copy of that creature, which will go off infinitely. If you get to late game and you have a Hylian Elite that somehow makes it through that turn, you can slap on a Trial of the False Reflection that will give it the same stat line. If it is injured, it will come off injured, but it will keep making copies of itself. You can also do this to your opponent who played their Hylian Elite. You can play a copy that will infinitely make copies of itself. So it's definitely a respectable card. You can definitely get a little crazy with it. Something I definitely want to speak on, whether or not you want to go ahead and buy that and have space in it in your deck, that's a whole nother different thing. That is up to you. I'll let you figure that out. But these 2 epic cards are definitely worth adding to the list if you are playing. Some people have made a way to play a OTK Form of Unity deck. And yes, you heard that right. I've had the pleasure of running into it myself, where out of nowhere they will rip off a board and hit you with 3 Form of Unities. It is about 9 mana to pull off the combo. What it is one. I will show you the cards. I'll show you the combo. So what you do, you have 2 Card Sharks in hand. What Card Shark does, it's a 1 mana summon another 1/1. That's 2 minions on board. You play 2 Card Sharks. Spell boost. You play 1 Street Conjurer. So that's 3 in hand. So then you have a board of 5 cards that you have played down for 3 off top. Once you have that, it'll do 10 damage. This is no longer what the text says. Form of Unity, deal 2 damage to a creature, to a character for each friendly creature on the board. Let me go ahead and give you the proper text. Also, while we're here, I'll go ahead and read off Recovered Knowledge. Go ahead and add these 2 to your list. Form of Unity, not so much so unless you like OTK decks. We can get some cohesiveness later on once we get our deck together. But Recovered Knowledge, Soulless, pull 2 random spells that cost 3 or less from your void. You are getting your Star Shard Bolt back. You are getting your Sip of Elixir back. You are getting your Tracking Bolt back. It can't be reiterated into how valuable those 3 cost or less spells are, and the fact that you can get those spells to play for the 3rd time that game. If you start your hand off with 2 Star Shard Bolts and a Recovered Knowledge, you get 4 Star Shard Bolts. What more do I need to say? Form of Unity, let me go ahead and show you the correct text on that. But out of everything for Magic, Recovered Knowledge is a must buy. I think that is the strongest, one of the strongest spells in the set, low key. Form of Unity. What this card now says: deal 1 damage to a character for each creature on the board. If you control 5 or more, deal 9 damage instead. It doesn't OTK because it's only 9 damage, but that's why you saw the Spell Conjurer. Right? Yeah, Street Conjurer. That's why we add that in there, because that +1 gets you to 10. You can rip off 2 of those without having any spell decreases, but you run with that OTK combo, you run cards that will decrease the cost of the spell so that you can rip off more than those. And as we'll get to the legendaries right here coming up, you can get 3 Form of Unities in your deck. That's 30 damage off rip. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we get that 3rd Form of Unity into our hand for the final OTK. I did not add it to my list, but let me go ahead and put down the text. Recovered Knowledge. I will never miss a chance again to tell you guys to go ahead and buy Recovered Knowledge. Form of Unity, not really a must buy, but as I've been telling you guys, if you guys are interested in playing that OTK deck, again with that Blast from the Past, the Arcane Burst, same with that 10 Pyroblast type damage. This is how you do that. And then Legendary, how you're going to get that other Form of Unity to your hand. This is Magus. It gives you all of those form cards in this current set again. So Magus is now a 5 mana 2/2 with Ward. It got a buff. Add a Form of Wisdom, a Form of Power, and a Form of Unity. Form of Wisdom, draw a card. If it's a spell that costs 3 or less, you can set it to 0. Form of Power, deal 2 damage to a creature. Deal 1 damage to the god. Form of Unity, if you have 5 more minions, you deal 9 damage. Magus, I like to run it in a lot of my decks. Is it a must-buy? Debatable. I'll say debatable. Is it a really good card? Yeah. Do I love running it, and do I try to find in a spot for it? Yes, because getting those 3 spells is a lot. Let's go ahead and add it to the list. It's a fun card. Is it a must-buy? No. If you are interested in playing the rat deck, Hypnia, no longer what the name is, Archimia, a Rithmancer. Kind of a card that's hard to pull out of the pack. It's avoided me, and it's been a couple people's last card that they got out of the set. But hey, Spiral E, appreciate the follow. Palace 1 has been pretty annoying to me unless you run 2-weapon hate. Yeah, so yeah, okay. So as I was saying, Archimia. That's not what the card says. It is a 5-mana 3/3 ward after you cast a spell. Let me hold on. After you cast a spell that costs 3 or less, refresh 1 mana. When you have cards like Form of Wisdom that can set a card to 0, you can start getting more mana, and you know what I mean. Eventually, getting more than you had at that time, and keep ripping off spells. Hey, you like it? Appreciate you. Yeah, as Spiral Eve has said that I'm doing good, man. As Spiral Eve has said, Palace Wand, annoying card that they've had to deal with. This is very good when you're playing a spell card, like the 3-mana spells and you're just ripping off spells. Probably good in tandem with Archimia. After you play a magic card, add 1 durability to this relic. Whoa! 5 gifted subs, my man. I appreciate that. Hold up, man. You gonna make me lose my track of mind. Yo, you goated for that. Nurax, I appreciate you, man. Hey, let me get some Pog emotes in the chat, for real, for real. Those of you who just got these subs, let me get some Gaston Pogs, baby. Okay, so Palace Wand, draw a card. So when you keep playing, appreciate you, keep up the grind, I will do so, man. I do it for y'all, I'll tell you every time. Palace Wand, as you keep playing those spells, as you see for Hypnia, you can keep drawing into spells so you won't tap out your hand. You can keep getting those resources back. It definitely goes very well. Palace is... Hey, Stonk with the subski for show. Palace is another good card. 3 mana, 1/4. Ability, it comes with ward. Ability, pick 1, either delve a spell or deal damage to an enemy god equal to the cost of a random card in their void and obliterate that card. Robin cosplay stream? That's a bet. If I had to say a tier list for these legendaries in this Magic domain, I don't think I could. I don't think I could really put that together because they're so... Archimia in the right deck is definitely better than some of these other cards. The most well-rounded out of these cards is going to be Magus. The best card out of these cards is going to be Palace, I would say, because... I like Palace. I don't like how she breaks the game 50% of the time, causing a random side to lose connection. Exactly. And then you have things like that. Like unless you try to cheese the game and you want to put out Palace to help you break the game and make your opponent DC. I'm gonna say scrub this off your list. Don't be that guy. But no, if I had to say the best, I would say Palace. If I had to say the most well-rounded, I would say Magus. If I had to say the best in the right deck, I would say Archimia. And if you wanted to, you could get Palace Wand if you could generate. You agree with running 2 Svarts generally right now, or still not enough for relics for a 2 times? I agree with running 2 Svarts for a couple reasons. Depending on what your rank is, you could be coming against people who run Demogorgons. Svart allows you to not also just remove the weaponry, but awaken a creature that could be very crucial. You know what I mean? That could make or break a game, being able to wake up off that turn of a Demogorgon. Not a lot of other sleep things that you got to worry about around that. But yes, you should run X squats. Appreciate the follow, man. But you should run some form of weapon removal in all your decks, with weaponry becoming so prevalent and with infinite durability relics being a thing in the game now with these trial relics. We'll let this breathe a little bit. Okay, so yeah, you should always tech into at least one, either a Bronze Servant or a Svart Basilisk. If you have cards that have strong spell removal or strong relic removal in their domain, such as the Nefarious Briar in Nature, go ahead and tech at least one of those in there. That is a 4 mana 3/4 with Regen that removes 4 durability off a relic. Not many things will be able to survive that. And then if you run Magic, make sure you tech in a Spellbound Gob. That is a 4 mana 3/3 that removes 5 durability off of a relic. Almost nothing can survive that, and also gives you spell boost +1. A good turn on turn 5 is having, if you're Magic, having that Spellbound Gob, being able to drop that and play a Illuminate, which now does 3. That could ping off a Jaguar or a couple other those 3 mana cards. Or you have at 6 mana the Spellbound Gob with +1 can now take off a Overgrown Rhino, a 5/5 with Star Shard Bolt. That now is a 2 mana cost card that pings for 5. As Vet has shown, there are some what you would have to worry about with Svart Basilisk, besides the Demogorgon, is coming up against Sleep Deception, but you might not have to run into that unless you're at the higher tiers of maybe Solar Gold queuing up into Diamond and Mythic players. But that kind of tops us off. For the list, let's go ahead and add in Magus. Let's go ahead and add in Palace. Those should do you pretty right. Palace of Champions. Those should be doing you right for your Magic additions. The Wand and Archimia are up to you. If you feel like you can get off something pretty crazy with the 5 mana 3/3, keeping you refreshed and mana, ripping off the 3 spells or less, go ahead and do that, because you can definitely get a combo going with the Palace Wand on deck and the Arrhythmia. But something to take note of, unlike the other weaponries that normally remove 2 durability, Palace Wand removes 3 durability. That is very heavy and very hard to keep pumping up. So with that being said, that would kind of slide down into the bottom, because I don't know why, but they decided to give this one, I guess it's because of card draw. There's not really a lot of ways to generate cards and to keep drawing. So because of that, they, I guess, bumped it up to 3 removal and 3 durability lost and not just 2. I am gold and a 1x weapon removal has been fun, but didn't know if people would be running more relics this weekend. I do queue into some rank 1 to 12 people though. I don't know if people are going to be running more. Granted, and it also, you said that you were currently gold. You could be seeing, I've seen some people this week playing a lot of that Slayer, OTK, more Genesis card prevalent with the Whetstone and Sharpen, I believe. So maybe not something you guys might have to be worried about this weekend. Lead the Charge deck. Yeah, it's going to be that Relic, that Slayer Lead the Charge deck. Something you may have to worry about. And I would say... And a lot of the times in those instances in that Lead the Charge deck, they only run 1 Scythe of Harvest, correct? Because if that's the case, you would only really need to run technically 1 weapon removal. But the ability to not just have that being the 1 card out of 30 and maybe giving you a better chance to draw into running 2 of them might be a better thing to do. It all depends on what you're taking that into in lieu of. So if you have the space for it, go ahead and tech into that. But also with the amount of, let's go ahead and, don't want to spoil it. Let's go ahead and start with the commons on War. We're jumping into War. We just finished Magic. But with that being said, yeah, if you do have the space to tech in and run comfortably 2 weapon removal creatures, I would say do so. Why not, right? But if you're losing that with a better value elsewhere, I could never tell you to do so. But yeah, it's something I would suggest playing by ear, playing by deck, and based off of what domain you are. So then now let's go ahead and jump into the commons for War. As that being said, with the heavy prevalence of Relic going on, also I think they might want to do a little bit more Relic, given that they added these in there with infinite durability relics. Wolf Soul Berserker, no longer what that card is called. I think it's Fenris Berserker. It is a 3 mana 4/3. After this creature attacks a god, destroy the relic, not just remove the durability. If it sticks, it is a good card if they have the weapon on. From my usage, I haven't seen this card stick too much due to it having the 3 health. The goated common out of the trial set that I do heavily suggest you buy is Nakvi Pillager. 3 mana, 3/3 Twin Strike Leech. For those of you who play Onslaught, for those of you who have been lucky enough to tech into a Hector out of your core legendary packs, this gives Hector lifesteal. This also gives Hector Twin Strike. But for those of you who are playing Onslaught, shout out to Muse who's in here right now. This is a crucial card. 3 mana at 5. For those of you who are getting beat up by the Zoo decks, at 5 mana, you will have a 4/3 with Twin Strike that will heal you up for, if you can get it off, potentially 8 lifesteal. That's a lot. Running 2 of those, running that onslaught twice of a 4/3 with Twin Strike lifesteal. That is a crucial card. If I could bold this card for y'all, I would. But adding this into your decks, especially those who, even those who run an intense training, adding that onto a Knock V Pillager, adding in a Fury, which if you do not run Onslaught, you can add in Fury, which gives a minion Blitz +1. Knock V Pillager, I mean, I could go on all day. Commander Gladius, not really worth it. There are better relics. I would even say the God Blitz 3/1 with Slayer could be a better thing than this. Just giving it the +1/+1 to a random, not really the best. Scythe Harvest gives a +1 to a random minion, not the health. But, you know, there are definitely other options in there. Valknir Weaponsmith, no longer a 4/4. It is a 4/5. Twin Strike. Roar, if you have a relic equipped, it gives your relic +1. Definitely a good card, especially for those who run Onslaught. This is a 7 mana 4/5 with Twin Strike if you have the mana for it at that point. Valknir Weaponsmith, definitely something we can add on there because it is a common, so something you can get for cheap, something around 10 cents or so. 10 cents or so. And yeah, if you, as you've seen, these cards are all Vikings. They go very hand in hand with Valka's Axe, which we will see later on. That is a legendary in the set. I will definitely be talking about that. Let's go ahead and bust it down to the rares. Go ahead and filter that out now. Rares. Power is Knowledge. No longer called that. No longer 8 mana either. It is 7 mana, Strength, and Numbers. Add 4 random war creatures to your hand. Give them +2/+2. This card is very good if you can find the tempo to be able to play this at 7. With a lot of the cards and decks that you're playing against, whether it's Big Beast, whether it's even then late game scaling cards, you might not have the time to, or the board state to be able to rip off a 7 mana where you just don't generate anything on the board, but you do get heavy value in your hand. There are times where you could get in response to, if you are second or if you are first in tempo, you could get goated, or if they goat you on turn 7, playing the Strength and Numbers doesn't really give it the turn to play. Valka's Discovery is good for those people who are running up against a cat, the Shadow of Lethanon. Remove Protected, Hidden Sleep, and backline from each creature. For those of you who are playing up against a Demogorgon, this is also anti-Demogorgon tech. This removes sleep if you see it in the Sanctum. Do not forget this removes sleep. This is something slept on, no pun intended. Tartesian Pair, I believe Muse could definitely give you a rundown on Pair. There is the Pair deck, which is a kind of enraged space. After a friendly creature attacks, give +1/+1 to a friendly creature with the lowest strength at the end of the turn. I don't think it does +1 to the lowest strength. I think it's random, right? If it was low strength, that would make it a little bit easier to predict on where that buff is going. After one of your creatures attack, give +1 to... It is the lowest strength. Huh, I did not know that. So yeah, Tartesian Pair, for those of you who like Enrage, Zoo, and have been seeing the Professor's War deck and have had some success with it, I would definitely say add in the Tartesian Pair. One card that is slept on that I have had great fun with is the 9 mana Howling Berserker. This is now a 9 mana 2/2. At the end of your turn, summon a copy of this creature and roar when it comes out onto the board. If you have this buffed up, which it is a Viking, if you have it in hand with Valka's Axe, getting +2/+2, this card can become nutty on a turn 9 curve. This could be, and I played it as a 14/14, which makes a copy of itself upon playing on the board. So you have two 14/14s, and then upon ending your turn, once you first play it, makes another copy of each of those. So you then have a 9 mana, 4 copies of a 14/14 card. Now, granted, if you aren't able to bump up your hand and get the boost to this card, it could be a dud. You could just have a 9 mana 2/2 that just spams across the board, but having 4 copies of a 2/2 could get you there if you just need to zoo it up and, you know, potentially push a little bit of last minute damage. Mountain Raider is the cheaper version of this card, but I don't think it's as good. Summon a copy of this creature. A copy includes all buffs and debuffs. I run the Howling Berserker. I haven't found a spot for a Mountain Raider yet working properly, getting buffs and being able to play it on the 4 curve. So not really worth it, but I do think you should buy a Howling Berserker. I do think that we will add in the Tartesian Pair and the... let me go ahead and edit the list. Let me go ahead and separate that with commons. And then let's go ahead and separate this with the rares. Let's go ahead and add in the pair. For those of you who enjoy playing in raids, let's go ahead and add in strength and numbers. I think it's a very good card. For those of you who have, it's something troops. Let me see if the card bot knows what I'm talking about. Troops. If not, I'll pull it up on stream. Did not find it. So let's go ahead and find that troop card I'm talking about. It gives you 3 troops. It's 4 mana. Let me go ahead and lock it down to 4 mana cards. Show owned. It's probably right here. Mercenary Troop. Adds 3 randomized warriors to your hand. And what those warriors are, they're 3 mana 2/2s that either when they hit the board will gain flank, twin strike, or leech. And they will either gain plus or -1 strength or health, one or not the other. So it'll either become a 2/3 or a 3/2 upon hitting the board. This is similar. It's a budget strength and numbers. It'll generate the cards that you like. But I would rather say go ahead and get the strength and numbers. Adding in those chances for those of you who do not have those Genesis legendaries, you could get in strength of numbers either in Aeneas, either in Odin, either a tier that also has a +2/+2 on it. You could either get a what is that little Blitz card? That's a 1 mana 2/2 +2. It's a 1 mana 4/4 with Blitz. You can definitely get some good cards that can swing the game if you find the tempo to be able to rip it off. But as I've said in my findings, there have been times where I haven't had the tempo and had that card in hand. So there could be other cards that are 7 mana that you could slot in that do give you better presence upon playing them. Let's go ahead and jump to the epics as we're finishing this off. Lead the Charge is good if you have the cards for it. Lead the Charge is making a come up right now, as you've seen in this week's streamers content. Whether or not I don't have the cards to properly run Lead the Charge, so I won't add it to my list. But if you do, this is now 2 mana. If you have a relic equipped, set the strength of each friendly creature equal to the relic strength. Does it say otherwise draw a card on the current iteration? Let's go ahead and see. Again, not too many times I played the card. It does say otherwise draw a card, so it does have some card draw in it. Not too bad on that. But yeah, whether or not is it must buy, no. I was doing some Viking play with the Valkazax, as you'll see it once we get to the legendaries right after this. Roar, if you have a relic equipped, give God Blitz to this creature. If you are buffing this up like crazy, you could have a pretty insane OTK if you play War in Hearthstone. This is pretty similar to that 4 mana, I believe 4/3 that has charge. And there is a deck version where you can buff a injured creature by, +4 or something like that and go ahead and charge face. You can do the same thing with this Blade Sworn Warrior if you can get the buff and go ahead and have a pretty nutty face card for 4 mana. So let's go ahead and see what I'm talking about. What I was playing around with yesterday in the Beaver versus Eagle with Copper Pitch was this Valka's Axe with a fully loaded Viking deck. And if you see this card after you play a war card, add 1 durability to the relic. Ability, deal 4 damage, then remove 3 durability to this creature from this relic. That is no longer what Valka's Axe does. I am going to post this on YouTube. I am going to highlight this and post it on Reddit, so you'll be able to find this if you guys missed this. Missed any of the other things, and I will be going over the list of what I've compiled so far for those of you who tuned in late and didn't see some of the other domains. Let me go ahead and show you the current iteration of Valkazax, and it seems to be locked in this way. They've done their final changes, and what Valkazax does after you play a war card, give +1 durability to this relic. Ability, get +1/+1 or +2/+2 if you control a Viking to each of your creatures on the board and in your hand. But might want to reference. Okay, I got you. And subtract 2 durability for this relic. So if you have Vikings on board, maybe even just one of them and the rest aren't Vikings, you get +2/+2 to that creature on the board and to everything in your hand. And you can keep ripping that off multiple times. Also, if you play that with Valkas, we'll go ahead and look at that over here. Honestly, For war, if you like the war domain, Valka's might not be a buy, but could be a buy by itself because you won't really run the 369 together. But the must buys, I think, are Xanth, Hertakis, and Valka. Into your war deck, Control, Slayer, maybe not Enrage because it's so zoo oriented. Onslaught, these cards go crazy. At the end of your turn, give a random creature in your hand plus X strength, where X is equal to the number of creatures in your hand. This card is nutty. 3 mana, 3/3. Just value. 6 mana, 3/6. At the end of your turn, if this creature is in your hand, it gains 1 strength. Roar. This creature deals damage equal to its strength to an enemy creature. You start off your mulligan with a Xanth and a Hertakis. Yes, it is 6 mana. It is kind of heavy to be keeping in hand in the mulligan. But you started off ticking away at every turn. Once you get to 6, there is nothing that this card cannot ping away. If you get the Xanth on turn 2 and you bag up, and this hits the Hertakis with a bunch of minions in your hand, this only speeds up the time it takes for it to get there. There are times where people have a 22 and 6, a 22 strength, 6 health Hertakis. This will smite anything off the board. Now, if you don't have that and you want to get to your 9 mana cards, I didn't play this and I goofed one time because I did not realize that this does frontline, and I also did not realize that this card, Valka, has frontline, twin strike, overkill. Also will keep the buff, but deals damage equal to this creature's strength to each enemy creature. You have a Valka's Axe, which is 5 mana, and you've been hitting this in your hand. Some reason you hit this twice. This is now a 9 mana 12/12 with overkill, twin strike, and frontline, which also does 12 damage across the board. Oh, also with the Helia, I forgot to go into neutral, so we do have a whole nother section. Lucky for y'all. But I think out of all the trial domain legendaries, War has been graced with these legendaries. These are all so good. Honestly, all the descriptions of these cards are so good. I'm gonna make my list. I'm gonna go ahead and add all these on here. Epics, wasn't really any epics that we wanted to add, but the legendaries, whoo! Go ahead and add all these bad boys. If you don't want to add on, if you just want one card and you want to pick something, go ahead and add in show list. You want me to show it now? You want to wait till the end? Some of y'all might not stick around to the end, so let me go ahead and show y'all the list. I'll give you all the list of all the gods, and then we'll go ahead and bust down the neutrals, and then we can go ahead and I'll show you all that list one more time. Oh, camera box the list. I got you. Let me scoot this over then. I'll also I'll full screen this too, so y'all Hertakis, Valka's Axe, and Valka Champion. So as you've seen in the last section of the Genesis, it was the Avatar set, and this it's the Champions of the Domains. So let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and start from the top. Can y'all see that pretty well? Y'all can see the text pretty well on here. We started with Death. Commons that I would highly recommend y'all adding to your shopping list. Nether's Advocate. That is a 2 mana 1/1 which adds in an experimental something. Is a 3/2. So it's a 2 mana that comes out with 1/1 that spawns a 3/2. So essentially it is a 2 mana 4/3. So pretty solid. Undead Chimera just recently got a buff before the end of the lock. 4 mana 3/5. Roar. Upon entering the field, it does 2 damage to each god, and upon swinging, it does 2 damage to each god. Definitely great for those of you who like Soulburn. Rares, Skull Scepter. Each time one of your minions die, it does 1 damage to the enemy god. Deathwatch Overseer. 4 mana 3/4 summons 2. Now it recently got a buff. 1/1 Implings. Whole lot of value. Experimental Outcome. Yes, that's the name of the card. That the Nether's Advocate will spawn upon death. The other one is Death Curate. It is a 5 mana 5/6 which heals you for 3 upon being underneath 15 health. For those of you who play Burn and need to get underneath the health threshold, that will help you, give you a little bit more sustain. Speaking of sustain, that moves us into the epics, which is Return to the Cave. Now it is a 1 mana heal for 10. Add 2 mana locks. Instead of healing for 12. Double digit heal, perfectly fine. Did not have to be 12. It is still great with 10. Legendaries, Neferu, definitely the must buy. Upon being under 15 health, this card will go back to your hand and also be 1 cost less. Deals 3 damage across the board to each character and all minions. I mean, the combos with Neff are insane. Upon deadly offerings or, any type of purposefully killing your card and healing. That moves us on to light, opposite of death. Let's go for the commons. Parthian's Democracy. That is going to be draw a card, give +1 health to each creature on the board and in your deck. A better version of the card that can be found in the core set and the welcome set, I believe it might be, of giving +1 health to each card in your hand and in your deck. As well as there's also one that just gives +1 to each card in the field. This does the field and deck, so it was pretty much a twofer. I don't see how you couldn't run this in lieu of the other ones. Olympian Guard, 2 mana, 1/2, but gets +1 each turn up until it has over 2 health. So it is a 2 mana, 3/4 if it sticks on the board past 2 turns. For the rares, Dragon of the First Pillar, not necessarily something that you have to buy, but it is a good beef when we're talking about the light archetype. It is a 7 mana 5/5, which enters the board either gaining +2 strength and back line, making it a 5 mana or a 7 mana 7/5, or it gets +4 health and frontline, making it a 7 mana 5/9 with frontline. Pretty good value there. Legendaries, Isadora, 6 mana, 1/2 with ward, backline that produces a Olympian Guard at the end of each turn. And Lysander and his combinations, Lysander being a 7 mana, 3/7, which at the end of each turn, it will heal itself up to full, and upon being healed, it gains +1 health. Lysander's Spear being a 3 mana 0/3 durability weapon, which upon playing a light card, you gain durability. Upon using the weapon, you subtract 2 durability to give a minion +2/+2. Infinite durability weapons with heavy buff like +2/+2. I mean, it's kind of hard to pass on. With that being said, we move into Deception. Common, Satyr Hypnotist. 2 mana, 2/2. At the end of your turn, enemy creature goes to sleep. This is a tempo card that you might want to start your hand on with. It will set their card to sleep if you go second, whatever they put down first, being a hog or being a pipped up skeleton heavy or a pyramid warden if you are so unfortunate to come up against that. Not the stickiest, because as I've said, it's a 2 mana 2/2. If they play a Axe Woman, it'll be taken out with the quickness. Obsidian Dagger, 0/3 durability. No way to add on more durability, but upon using 1 durability, you can put a minion to sleep. And with control, Deception being an archetype, this is one way to get a card to sleep without using your mana that turn. Fever Dreams, 3 mana. Spell, put a creature to sleep, then draw a card for each sleeping creature. The combo that we talked about earlier is using your bag on 2 if you go second. Obsidian Dagger, if you go first, you can still use your bag on your second turn. Obsidian Dagger, they play 2 cards. Fever Dreams, you will Obsidian Dagger one of their creatures to sleep, then you play the Fever Dreams to the other creature to put them to sleep. You draw 2 cards. That's a good way to generate. Pretty easy combo. Next, we go into the rares. The goated card, probably the set, probably one of the best cards of the set. We could talk about that later. Shadow of Lethanon, 1 mana, 1/1, deals 1 damage at the start of your turn to your opponent's god. Gets stealth at the end of your turn, so you can attack with it infinitely, and it will continually get stealth without having to cheat. You can buff it up with dark knives. It is hidden, so you can get the flank on there easily. I could talk about Shadow of Lethanon all day. I'm sure you had the experience of playing against it on the ladder. Dream Stalker, that is a 5 mana 3/3, 2/3, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But what it does, roar when it comes out onto the board, destroy all sleeping creatures. Easy to combo with the Obsidian Dagger and the other sleep cards that are 3 mana. It is 5 mana. Upon having 8 mana, you have a Easily executable ping to remove any creature off the board. Epics, Elixir of the Panther. 5 mana card. What it does either sets all of your opponent's creatures to sleep or gives you a way to copy all of your opponent's creatures. In my version of my control sleep Deception deck, I don't have any Genesis sleep cards, so I run it with just Trials and Wellcore cards. I run Elixir of the Panther because I don't run a lot of minions, and this has been able to give me a way to build the board after I wipe it. So you could have in hand Rapture Dance, and you Elixir of the Panther, you get what minions they have, you wipe their board, and then you build up that same copy of the board state that they previously had. Legendaries, there weren't a lot of legendaries to talk about. I can run you by them. Orfeo, I'm not really fond of because it will automatically drop out of your hand even if you don't want it to, and it's only a 1 mana 1/1 with Deadly. The Deadly is cool, but it just gets played without your intentions, and that could scuff some stuff up. But the one noteworthy must buy if you are a Deception lover and you do like the control archetype of Deception, then go ahead and get Eris, which also got a buff in the previous patch, so it will be locked in on this. And what the buff was that it is now a 9 mana 8/7 hidden, doesn't have flank, has backline. I'm actually going to not do this off of memory. Let me go ahead and pull this up so I can do it justice. I believe it's hidden, Twin Strike, and it's not backline. Let me go ahead and pull up Eris. Oh, Deadly. I was missing something. I knew it was good. Deadly. Oh, it does have flank. So, I mean, if it doesn't say a must buy already, it is a 9 mana 8/7 Deadly, Twin Strike, flank, hidden. When this creature attacks, not just attack the god that it used to be. When this creature attacks, and it can attack twice, it'll stick on the board because it is hidden. If they have Valka's Discovery, it has flank. Well, Valka's Discovery doesn't really mess with flank. But if they have a front line, it has flank. But when this creature attacks, and it will attack twice, obliterate the top 10 cards of your opponent's deck. This obliterates 20 cards. Your opponent is toast. I hope they drew every good card in their deck by the time you play Eris and attack. Because if not, it is gone. It is obliterated. I believe it's obliterated, right? It's not even in the void. If it is obliterated, then I want you guys to set aside money out the piggy bank and go ahead and set up that money now. Eris. The cards are obliterated. Yes, Nerds clicked it up with the 5 gifted. For real. Goated. Goated for show. But it obliterates. You play Hidden Rush? Yeah, so the thing with Hidden Rush, and that's the more common archetype, is that not too often are you guys getting to 9 mana unless you got gassed out and somehow were prolonged. But this is something that, hey, Goats and Flex in the chat, this is something that could, if you throw it into the back of the deck and somehow you end up getting gassed out to 9, this gives you somewhat of an out. The flank alone, bro. The flank alone, you have to hit once to whatever has flank. Hopefully it doesn't have more than 7 attack. Then you can go around it even if you don't clear it or they have something else with frontline. You can go around it now and go play face and go hit them in the face for 8. And you just took out 20 cards obliterated. They can't use anything to summon out their void. They can't get Trial of the Underworld out of the Sanctum. They are gone. You can't even look at what you lost. It's obliterated. They might as well change the name from Eris to Obelisk, the Tormentor, because it's out here obliterating. Let's go ahead and switch that, move on. Nature, commons. The only thing I would say that you should go out and buy, if you are mad that you don't have... Okay, the only thing I would say you should go out and buy common-wise, Nature, Jagstaff. Add that to your repertoire. It is a common 8 cents. But something else, if you are mad that you don't have Genesis cards and you're mad that you don't have a Black Rhino, go ahead and add a Dionysian Bull. We spoke of that as one of the few 6 mana cards that can be subbed in stat-wise. It's not the same as a Black Rhino. Obviously, a Black Rhino is better, but it's something that you can get now instead of having to wait till the back end of IMX. Moving on to rares, Archmonian Hydra. People know how to play around the Hydra. Everybody targets the Hydra first, but it is a fun card if you can get the heads to start popping off. Wandering Scout. Not really remembering what that card is off the top of my head. Let's go ahead. I think that was the 1 mana 2/2, 2 mana 2/2. Oh, oops. Let me hit card first. Card Wandering. Oh, Wandering Scout was the 3 mana 1/3 that if you have 3 or more creatures on the board, you get +2/+3 or +2/+2, making it a 3 mana 3/5. Let's go ahead and see if I remember that correctly. Wandering Scout. Card not found. Okay, yikes. Let's go ahead and put it up on here then, huh? Oh, I'm tripping. You got me going on this list. We haven't even gotten to the neutrals. Let me go ahead and speed this up. And then I'll give you all a breakdown. Let me go ahead and make a run through this list. Okay, legendaries for nature. Dionysus, must buy. Selena's Bow, must buy. Selena's Champion, must buy. These 3 legendaries in nature will take your deck to another level. Will definitely push you up a rank, if not a couple more if you are on a lower tier list. These 3 cards are goated for the set. Definitely all very strong. You don't even have to get any of the rest of the cards if you just go ahead and go out your way. Go ahead and buy those 3 singles. You're set. Magic. Commons, Spellbound God, we talked about it. 5 mana removal, doesn't get much better than that. Rod of Rodents, if you like the meme decks, go ahead and cop it. Form of Wisdom, 2 mana, draw a spell, set it to 0 if it's under 3. Great card. Form of Power, 1 mana, deal 2, deal 1 damage to the god. Epic, must buy. Recovered Knowledge, if you don't buy anything else, go ahead and cop that. Form of Unity, not really something that's a must buy, good for the memes. Legendaries. We talked about Palace Champion. We talked about Magus. Those are the best well-rounded legendaries for the set. For Magic, definitely something that you want to target if you want to add in some leggies. But the leggies won't really make or break this. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put it on Reddit. I'm going to clip this, put it on the highlights, and I'm also going to have this on YouTube, so you can also find the VOD there. Commons. Commons for War, Nakvi Pillager. That is a must-buy. 3 mana, 3/3 Twin Strike with Onslaught or any other Blitz type of card to pump that up. That is either 6 sustain. If you only get it hit once and they clear it, that is 3 lifesteal. If you can get it off and swing it, that is 6, but you're right. It is, yeah, Steadfast Scout. Steadfast Scout. I put Wandering Scout. I guess I was looking elsewhere. Steadfast Scout. Let me go ahead and edit that on the list for those of you who are going to be watching this again. Steadfast Scout is definitely Steward. Steadfast Scout is definitely a really great one to add. The big brother of the Tribal Orc, for those of you who like Tribal Orc, who like Zoo. This is definitely something to add into your repertoire. Your arsenal, a 3 mana 3/5. You know what I mean? It doesn't get much better than that, but let me go ahead and continue on where we were. For War, Nakvi Pillager, must buy. Valknir, not necessarily a must buy. Pair, must buy if you like the Enrage. Strength in numbers. And for those of you who might not know what Pair is, let me go ahead and add in the full title for these. Strength in numbers and Tartesian Pair. I might misspell this, but let's go ahead and try it out. Tartesian Pair. And then for the legendaries, all of them. Go ahead and just buy all of them. If you want to switch over to War now, and because you're just dropping the bag on the War legendaries, I don't blame you because they're so good. And then with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into neutral and wrap this off. I put it natural. There are a couple of neutral leggies that I might just speak on briefly that are definitely coming to mind in the neutral copies. Helia, 7 mana, 6/6. Give each creature +1/+1 and ward. Super strong. Also wakes up all your creatures from sleep. Anti-demo tech. That is a neutral that you can put into all cards. Same curve as a demo. Can clear a demo with the 6/6. Buffs your minions. If they couldn't clear a demo, they could clear a demo now. So let's go ahead and pop that in there. I know my boy Lion is in here, so let me let me shout out to the Ironclad Minotaur. I believe that is also a neutral that we will be taking a look at too. So let's go ahead and bust this down. Neutral. Ironclad is also some anti-demo tech. We'll talk about it when we pass it. Alright, so neutrals. What do we like on neutrals? Vow of Champions is a good card to add. It can be teched into the spell decks. It is a pick 1, either draw a card, either gain 7 favor, deal 2 damage, or heal your god for 4. Pretty much a do anything you want to card for 2 mana. Let me go ahead and shrink this down so I can see the rest. Go ahead and scroll back down. Vow of Champions. Definitely something you should add onto your list. Definitely something you can add into your magic decks for spells that are under 3 mana. Thebian Strategos, not really something I'd add in. Ironclad Minotaur. Great card. What this does, it is protected. 6 mana, 5/6 with protected. Give war to your god. Remove sleep from each friendly creature. I guess since it's a Minotaur, it's not a goat, right? Or could it still be goated? I'll let you decide. Injured Heteroi. 4 mana, 4/4 because it becomes injured. But I've been having some fun playing the heal light domain, running this card in there. After this creature is healed, gain 2 favor. Roar, deal 2 damage to this creature. Now, this is being placed into my decks because I don't have the optimal light decks with the Genesis cards, or obviously this would not have a spot in there. But if you need some beef, 4 mana, 4/4, which heals up to 4/6, could be in there. Later on, I want to see more structure cohesiveness. Delve a structure, add it to your hand, give it +2 health. I want to see more. Not really a must buy. Let's jump into the rares. If you are a fan of Copper Pitch and you like the big ass dragon deck, then go ahead and get you a Dragonkin Caller. There are not enough dragons in the game to be able to have this card. Hopefully, the next expansion sees a bunch of Dragonkin Callers. So maybe you want to be preemptive and you want to buy up a bunch of Dragonkins, go ahead. You open up a gold one? I'll be on that. So they added in student cards. These aren't bad. After a friendly creature attacks, gain 3 favor. After you summon a creature, gain 3 favor. After you draw a card, gain 3 favor. There are ways to have a little bit of cohesiveness with the favor. Not really must buy. Parthian Guardian, a good card. Not really a must buy. Frumentary Instigator, good for the deception domains. I can show you a deck after this that I have had a bunch of fun running the Frumentary Instigator in. Not really anything worth buying though for the rares on the neutral. Let's go ahead and jump to epics. So I guess Hyde was an epic at one point. I guess Helia was an epic too. That's funny. Divine Messenger. As you saw with the students, there's favor. As you see with the Ghostly Chariot. Ghostly Chariot. Okay, these favor cards are all good if you play favor-oriented decks. If you have no spells, this card becomes a... They buffed it. This is 5 mana, 4/4, gains +4/4 if you have no spells, right? Or gains 4/1. And it becomes an 8/5, 5 mana. Militants are now a rare. So Militant might be a rare to go grab. Pious Giant, now is a buff. This is actually something you might want to grab too. Yeah, these are the first iterations of them. They haven't shown them. Pious Giant is a buy now, I would say, because it's now 6 mana, 6/6. Lose 20 favor. It becomes +3/+3. Pretty easy to get 20 favor too by a 6 curve. So on 6, you drop a 9/9 with ward. It now comes with ward if you lose the 20 favor. Definitely got buffed. 3 mana Ghostly Chariot. If you can now get Divine Messenger now rare. Roar, if you have 80 favor or more, get +5/+5 to each creature in your deck. If you can get that off, it is insane. It is insane. And if you can get 40 favor, after each player summons a creature, you gain 2 favor. Afterlife, if this has 40 favor or more, you summon it back. If you're running with the students and with a Ghostly Chariot deck, you'll get there. All right, well, Helia is not a epic. It is a rare, but this is definitely on the must-buy list. So I'm going to type it in once... Type it in on this. Okay. Let me see if I think that actually might be it. Yeah, this is all of them. Yeah, there's a... Bro, there's... Oh, okay. It's got some cores in there. I was like, yo, the amount of legendaries in the Genesis set is cracked out if these are all Jennies. But now it's got some cores in there. Okay, so yeah, the only legendary that's worth buying, that's a neutral, Helia. Definitely something you can tech into any of your decks. The big notes that are on the neutral... Yeah, I'm gonna... It's cool. The big things that were on the neutral are the anti-sleep kind of things. So let's go ahead and blanked out. Let's go ahead and add a Helia. And then with that being said, I think that'll top us off for our list in preparation for IMX. So we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Appreciate the follow, homie. 5, 6, 7, 8. It's about 40 cards or so. Go to train.com and select cards. Oh yeah, that's fire. Hell yeah. I think we're gonna be doing this then, using this set. Okay, yeah, the only two neutrals are Hydna and Helia. Hydna is still good, man. I mean, people talked about the nerf and what exactly that was. I mean, it's still great stats, man. 5 mana, 4/4 at the start of your turn, gain 3 favor. At the end of your turn, if you have more favor than your opponent, deal 2 damage, automatic ping to the creature with the lowest health. So it's definitely not weak. It's definitely not as good as it was, but it's definitely not weak. But yeah. We could debate on what it would be. Not a Molly, the people's champ in the building. Woo! So yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in today on our episode 4 of Market Watch. Today we compiled our list to prepare for the looming arrival of IMX. We already got our wallet set up. All we need is our pockets set up, baby. So yeah, thank you for joining me. This has been a great first week of Market Watch. I will be doing Market Watch this next week in the nighttime, starting on Tuesday. I'm not sure what the date on that is going to be, but tune in for a nightly Market Watch. We'll give the market a little bit more time. We'll have a weekend of transactions. We'll have a day of transactions, and we'll dive in. We've got our list ready for Genesis. We've got our list ready for trials, and this weekend we're earning our packs for the new set. So seems like we're good to go. But I'm Black Gaston. Thank you for tuning in, and you've been watching Market Watch.